So we're now going to be talking about the Trecena of Tijax and what Tijax is going to bring to each one of us, how we can use it to our highest purpose, what we're going to use it for. So we start off by understanding a bit about what is Tijax all about. What does Tijax represent? So Tijax is the obsidian blade. When we find, like in the place where I come from, the people of the past used to use flint for their arrowheads, for their knives and those kind of things. And here they would use obsidian. But if you've ever dug around in the ground, in Suffolk or around here, and you touch some obsidian, you'll know that even after hundreds of years, this stuff can still be really, really sharp, yeah? Has a very, very keen edge to it. That's why they were using it as knives. One of the things with this knife is that this knife could be used by different people. It can be used by surgeons to cut away a disease, to cut away a problem. It can be used by warriors to cut through their enemies. It can be used by sculptors to create something beautiful. And quite honestly, like for me, this is all about what it's about. It's about cutting through to the truth of matters. It's about cutting through to the divinity. Okay, so Tijax with that sharp edge brings a razor-like discernment, and that's what's coming up right now. There is certainly an essence of healing, but that essence of healing comes through cutting away the superfluous, cutting away what you don't need in your life in order to bring wholeness. Okay, so this is one of the themes that we can be working with as we move through the Tijax Trecena. Tijax, I was saying, we describe it as, the reason why I see it as a sculptor or an editor is because we're going through to the perfection, yeah? We're cutting away anything that doesn't fit. We're cutting away the mundane to get through to the divine. And so Tijax brings that essence to us. So it can bring us a sharpness of sight, a sharpness of mind. If we're not careful, a sharpness of tongue as well. When we're using that blade, we have to be a little bit careful about the way that we swing it, because we don't want to inadvertently cause injury while we're going through this. So it's something to be looking out at, because sometimes Tijax can be argumentative. Sometimes Tijax can be rather warlike. It represents the warrior as well as the healer. So we have to be a little bit aware of this as we go through the Tijax Trecena. It's like, how do you want to approach things? In your quest to cut through to the divine, how many casualties are you going to leave behind? You know, there's an element that might need some gentleness in there. Okay, so be on the lookout, because everybody's going through this at the same time. Be on the lookout that everybody's swinging their blade. Everybody's trying to heal. Everybody's trying to cut themselves free of the restrictions or the things that are putting them out of balance. So be it, when we're aware of this, we can also take a breath before we react, perhaps. Tijax ultimately is about bringing peace. It's about bringing peace and unity. I see it very much as the polishing of the diamond. There's a samurai blade, training and training and training, honing your diamond to perfection so that you never need to draw your blade, really. So this is what we're looking at. We're going through to perfection by cutting away the things that don't fit in our lives anymore. Okay, so of course we begin on the day of 1 Tijax. This is a new quest. Tijax as a could be like representation of a crusader, somebody who's going on a quest, somebody who's cutting through to get through to the truth at the end of this quest. This begins tomorrow. The new quest begins. The new healing begins. What have you chosen to cut away from your life? What can you edit out of your life now? What's going to make your life more beautiful? What's going to help you get closer to your divine self? Tijax is a great day for healing. 1 Tijax is the beginning of that healing process, and the beginning of the healing that happens by cutting away the thing which is keeping you sick. The thing which is putting you out of balance, the thing that's stopping your harmony, stopping your connection with the divine. So 1 Tijax gives us the opportunity to identify that and begin to cut it away. From 1 Tijax, we then move into 2 Kawok. So Kawok is the one that comes to bring the feminine essence of healing after the surgery. It's the one that comes to put the salve on our wounds to help us to heal. But she's also the one that helps the birth process to happen. And we see it with the number 2 here. So the number 2 represents duality. The number 2 also can represent self-sacrifice. So maybe what sacrifices might you make in order to birth into your new world? What are you going to leave behind in order to go forward? Kawok, we ask on Kawok days to wash away the obstacles on our path so that we can be born into the new. Tijax is all about sculpting this new self, yeah? Cutting away what we don't need so we can sculpt ourselves in our highest aspect. To Kawok is saying, right, okay, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to rebirth yourself into your new being? From Tu Kawok, we move into 3 Arpu. So 23rd, 24th, 25th of December, Christmas Day, 3 Arpu. This is a particularly beautiful one for those of us that celebrate things like Christmas Day with our family. Arpu represents divinity. It represents the path to the divine. There is also an element of home about it. And the number 3 represents the inner world. It represents being in that home. Okay? So in some ways, 3 is about asking us to look internally. Okay? The home of the soul is the body. So it's about looking inside. And what are we looking inside for? The divinity, the light. This is about finding the divinity within your home. So it's a great day for a family gathering and seeing the true divinity within the hearts of your family. That divinity, of course, is reflected in each one of us because we're family. We share that all together. So it's a rather beautiful day for that. Of course, when we see the divinity in each other, this also maybe helps us to stop the fighting. Because we recognize that each of us carries that part of the divine. And when each of us is carrying that part of the divine, we need each other around us. So this can be very much about recognizing it within your home as well. Within the people in your home and your home itself. From 3 Arpu, we move into 4 Imosh. So Imosh representing the dream. Imosh representing the collective consciousness. Our connection with each other. Our ability to connect with each other over hundreds of thousands of miles. Our part within the collective consciousness. But if we take it back to the dream in particular, we see it here with the number 4, and the number 4 representing the physical plane, representing the 4 directions. So this is the manifestation of the dream into the physical plane. 26th of December is a great day to be working on how to manifest your dream into the physical plane. How to bring that into focus, how to bring it into clarity. From 4 Imosh, we're going to go into 5 Ik. So we're going through the Trecena of Tijax. We come here to 5 Ik. Ik is our divine breath. Ik is our ability to communicate. It's also our ability to work with and adapt to changes. And we see it here with the number 5. Now the number 5 represents the one hand. And it's that hand that we do work with. So this is about putting our work into something. In general, I like to see it as the work being the application of energy to a system. Here, the system is communication and change, and the energy is the work here. So this is saying that if you want to change, if you want to create change, you're going to have to put some effort into it. It's not just going to drop into your lap. So the changes that we desire, the purity that we desire, the healing that we desire in Tijax, here we're putting our effort into it. This is also to say that this point here, the 5 Ik, this is also about putting our effort into communication. It may represent that there might be a few crossed wires on that day. You may have to pay a little bit more attention to the words that you use on that day so that they don't end up cutting. It's like putting our energy in to get our point across, but also putting our energy in to make sure that our words are inspiring, to make sure our words are loving rather than cutting. From 5 Ik, we then move into 6 Akabal. So Akabal, the new dawn. Akabal, the new concept that we're going to bring in. So of course, as we go through this healing process, we're going to bring in some new concepts. And here we see that new concept connected with the number 6. The number 6 represents the physical plane that we saw in the 4, but this time it's connected with the heart of the sky and the heart of the earth, the divine masculine and divine feminine principles. So this is taking something which was purely material and asking for maybe what we consider to be divine guidance in order to manifest it into the world. We're creative beings, and as we go through our life, we're constantly creating. Here we had this bringing the dream into the physical, but here this brings us an understanding that comes from the other worlds of how to really manifest this new concept in. Okay, so it embellishes it with the power of the divine. The top of the Trecena, the midpoint of the Trecena, 7 Cat. Now, it's always interesting in this because we have Tijax as the obsidian blade that we use to cut ourselves free. And what we find in the Mayan cross is that Tijax is on the right hand of the Nawal Cat. Now the Nawal Cat is the net. It's the net that we use to gather our abundance, which is a great thing in general. Of course, we want to gather our abundance. We're really happy until the point where we've got so much abundance in our net that we can no longer carry it. Until the point that that net becomes a burden and slows us down and ties us and binds us. Here we're learning how to cut our way through the nets of life. When we've become tied up, Tijax helps us to free ourselves. The number 7 at the top of the pyramid, when you're on the top of the pyramid, when you're on the top of the hill, you're able to see in all directions. When you can see in all directions, you're able to see the choices which are available to you. So this is very much about choosing what you want to carry forward and what you want to cut yourself free of. You have the obsidian blade. This is active within us right now. And so it's saying, right, okay, make your decision. How do you want to go forward? It's a great day for sorting through things. Sorting through what you want to keep, what you want to let go of. Maybe this is a kind of like a turning of the solar year kind of thing, where we have a look about what still serves us and what we can let go of. What's holding us back, what's causing us sickness. So on 7 Cat, this is a great day to use the discernment of the Nawal Tijax to sort through your bag, whether that's having a clean out through your house or your attic or whatever that might be, sorting through your backpack, or in a metaphorical sense, what's holding you back from achieving your divinity. From 7 Cat, we're then going to go into 8 Can. So this would be the ceremonial day of this Trecena. This will be the 30th of December. 8 Can. Can is power and wisdom. Can is also seen as the Nawal of teachers. These are the people that empower us by sharing their wisdom. Can is also seen as the illusionist. Can can also teach us to see through the illusions. So we see all of these things around the Nawal Can, the body lightning that we carry, and we see it with the number 8, the wholeness, the day of ceremony. Now the number 8, it can be seen as a composite of the number 1 and the number 7 coming together. The day of birth and the day of death, the beginning and the end coming together in the wholeness of the cycle. And so when we see it like that, what we understand is this is about understanding the wholeness of the Nawal Can. Is understanding the dark side and the light side of the use of our body lightning. It's understanding what our teachers bring, and in some ways I would see the Washakib Can, the 8 Can day, to be a day to make ceremonies to honour our teachers, to honour those that bring wisdom to our world. It's also a day to honour the body lightning within each one of us, that which guides us and that which gives us our properties. It's the day of our own life force energy. So to celebrate that, to make a ceremony for that. The day 9 Kamei will be the 31st of December. Kamei is the Nawal of death and transformation. Kamei is all about facing our fears. This brave warrior that we see in Tijax is going through a journey. And here, this is about facing our fears. This is about facing up to our demons and knowing that we've got the power to overcome them. It's a day of calling on our ancestors and using the wisdom of our ancestors, the power of our ancestors, embodying that and using it to break through obstructions, using our obsidian blade to slay the dragon, as it were. Okay? And here we see it with the number 9, and the number 9 can represent the divine feminine. It's the number of lunations that we spend in the womb, but it can also represent, it's the number of life, it's new life through the lunations in the womb. Okay, so this is facing up to life fears. This is kind of like quite a big day within this Trecena. Maybe there's something that is stopping you from following your path. Maybe there is something that is stopping you from following your bliss, following your joy. An obstruction that you may have put in your own path, or something that you fear. This is a day to use the obsidian blade to face up to it, to cut through it, to transform. Kamei, I see as the soul alchemist. This is what's turning us from human into something bigger. It's helping us to engage with our divine self. So, 9 Kamei is a great day to be working through fears on your life path so that you can move forward, so that you can evolve. From 9 Kamei, we're then going to go into 10 Kiech. So Kiech, the mountain, the wilderness. In some ways, although I don't want to go too much into the Gregorian calendar, this is going to be the 1st of January. So if you like to work with the Gregorian calendar, you might say that the year 2020 is associated with the 10 Kiech energy. That's one way of looking at it. It's not the way that we would look at it, because we're going to be looking at the Mayan solar new year on the 20th of February, which will be the year 8 Noch. Anyhow, 1st of January 2020 will be the day 10 Kiech. Kiech representing the mountain, representing the wilderness, our connection with the wilderness. This is a great day for a New Year's Day walk. Get out there, connect with the wilderness. In fact, the number 10 representing two hands coming together. It's about community. It's about society. It's about helping each other. So this is about, go for a walk in nature with your community, with your friends, with your family, because it helps you all to invigorate. Kech is about strength. It's the strength that we draw from the natural world. You know how you feel invigorated after you've gone out and walked in the wilderness? This is the day to absorb that strength and use it within your community. Kech also represents, in some ways, Mayan spirituality. It represents the elders within the village who would go to the mountain to ask the questions, who get the understanding of how to take the community forward through nature. And so this is something else that we can see through that. It's time to work with the spiritual guide within ourselves, to work with the community. From 10 Kiech, we're then going to go into 11 Anil. So Anil is the ripening. It's about bringing things to their yellowness. We're still going through this Tijax Trecena, and here we're coming up towards the end of it. And Anil is, if we are the people of the corn, this is the corn turning yellow. This is about bringing it to abundance, to fruition. This is a joyful day. It's a day of when we receive our abundance. We've put in all a lot of hard work growing our corn. Here it is, bright yellow, and we're able to take it to market. So we're joyful that our work has paid off. And we see here, with connection to the number 11, the number 11 is going in many, many different directions. We might not always know why it's going in a particular direction. It's not until we get there that we find out, and sometimes even when we get there we don't find out. It's at a later date that we look back and realise that it was part of our ripening process. 11 days we kind of have to trust our intuition on. If you get a deep yearning or urge to go somewhere or do something, usually it's time to act on it. And you might not understand why, but that will be part of your ripening process. It's just going to come at a later date, the true understanding of it. So be on the lookout for things that are appealing to you on that day. And if something really is showing very strongly, it's time to follow it. From 11 Anil, we then move into 12 Tok. So we've received all of these benefits. We've received the joy and the goldenness, the abundance. And 12 Tok, Tok is about giving back. It's about tithing. It's about making a payment, about making an offering, about making a sacrifice of some kind, giving something back for what you've received. Tok is a day of the fire. Tok is a day of service. And what are we serving? Well, or rather, how are we serving? What does this service come from? Well, the number 12 represents the bundling together of all of your life experiences. So it may be that when you were in your 20s, you were doing this kind of work, or you learnt about this thing, and then when you were in your 30s, you learnt about this kind of thing, and when you were in your 40s, you learnt about this kind of thing. Well, maybe there is something that you can draw together from all of those different learnings, all of those different paths that you took, that you can use to be of service to your community or your family, that you can use to be of service to other people. It's a time to give back. We were sorting out our net here, and here we're using what we keep in our bundle to serve society. So it's a great day for making an offering. It's a great day to go out there and do something selfless, using the qualities and knowledge, the experience from your past to do it. And then finally, we come to this 13Z, the end of the Tijax Trecena. Z being the Nawal of faith, justice, and unconditional love, being the Nawal of authority. The 13Z also is connected to the Earth Lord, who gives us everything that we ask for. The number 13 is seen as the number of the ancestors. It's seen as the number of the spirit world. So this is about having faith in spirit. This is about the unconditional love that comes to us from our ancestors. This is about having faith in our guidance, faith in the ancestral world taking us forward. This is what we reach when we embrace the warrior within us. And we're going through that, and it's our faith, this great faith, that's leading us forward. 13Z is a great day for demonstrations and acting out of unconditional love. Seeing and understanding the unconditional love that came to us from our ancestors and putting that into practice. So this has been the Trecena of Tijax. I hope that's given you some guidance for the next 13 days. And I look forward to seeing you again for the Trecena of Bats. Thank you.